Alright, finally back in the swing of things and producing videos after being sequestered in my studio playing New World for about 2 weeks. I have a lot to say about it. I'll probably have my review done on or around the 18th after the coming weekend is over, but for right now, I want to focus on something else entirely, and that is Twitch. I know, before I go any further, some people will roll their eyes and wonder why in the world I'm talking about that wretched platform once again, because I've talked about it before. And I understand the sentiment, but today I want to discuss something fairly recent and extremely impactful because Twitch has had a huge amount of information leaked by a hacker on 4chan, which contains some pretty interesting things about internal corporate policy, financial information, and then further underlined the platform's complete and utter mismanagement in the aftermath. There's a lot more to that, but setting the stage a bit beforehand, Twitch has had an incredibly bad year, or 3, from an optics perspective. They have tangled with music DMCA in one of the most relentlessly botched ways possible, leading to mass deletion of VODs, thousands of hours of content for major partners, and that has sentimental value to a lot of them, it's memories, things like that. And they did this out of pure fear that their channel might be summarily terminated as a result if they got DMCA violation takedowns. They have grappled with revelations that one of their most high-profile and well-known moderation staff, from a public eye perspective, Hassan Bokhari, is alleged to be some sort of predator targeting their female creators. They have banned simple words like simp as the content meta on the platform devolves into a cesspool dominated by over-sexualized rule-dodging and blatantly manipulative content aimed at seducing lonely viewers into forking over cash. And they have defied the gambling regulatory bodies as well by allowing no-holds-barred crypto casino sponsors to have free reign over some of their most influential broadcasters. Much more recently, they have come under fire for failing to solve an issue called hate raiding, which a lot of people have spoken up about, and it is a real problem on the platform, which targets their own broadcasters with malicious bot attacks or chatbot raids. And all of this has been happening before they had a hacker leak 125 gigabytes of data to the internet, which contains, in list format, because this isn't even all of it, the entirety of Twitch.tv's source code, creator payout reports for the past 3 years, mobile, desktop, and video game console Twitch clients, proprietary SDKs and internal AWS services used by Twitch, at least some data from all other Twitch properties, including IGDB and CurseForge, information about what appears to be an unreleased Steam competitor, Vapor, from Amazon Game Studios, and Twitch's internal red teaming tools used by their security teams. That's not even all of it. Also contained within the 125 gigabytes, it is alleged that there are passwords, addresses, and more, while the leak itself was titled, at least officially, as a Part 1, hinting that there might be much more to come on top of what is already best described as a nuclear information breach. Now, a lot of this is old news, at least relatively speaking, because the internet moves at 100 million miles per second and everything is obsolete within a few days. This was trending like 4 to 6 days ago when I was grinding out endgame dungeons in New World, but what isn't being discussed as much, the leak itself has already drawn an incredibly large amount of scrutiny overall, is the response from Twitch and the subtext that that response now carries. Immediately after the leak, which also contained a do not ban list, surprise, surprise, a streamer named Destiny started discussing the contents. He focused on how there was a list of streamers who were treated differently for the purposes of moderation, suspension, and punishment. That list, which appears to be a snippet of a much larger document, to my knowledge that larger document has not actually been released in full as of yet, but I could be wrong, contained a bunch of names, some expired, some expected, like the CEO of Twitch, Emmett Shear, who is listed as a do not ban for any reason because he is obviously the company lead. But that list also contained a few names, like Rice Gum and Tyler One. Now, keep in mind, this is a side note I'm adding in postscript, that RiceGum is the creator that was openly saying, hey, if y'all want to scam, hit me up, and has been mired in controversy for the past couple of months for a crypto scheme as well. So RiceGum, the loot box thing he did on top of that, where he promoted, what was it? Mystery box packet? I don't know. He promoted a clearly scam physical loot box thing where they send you products, but they made off with everyone's money, and it was just a complete joke. He openly tries to and advocates for the practice of scamming users or fans. The listed reason for these two streamers being placed on a do not ban list was that violations should be escalated to a specific email, and Destiny actually read that email on stream. Now, this was a formulaic company email address which can be guessed by almost any person on the internet with even a rudimentary connection. It is constructed by putting the first initial of the first name before the last name and then adding the company name as a final address. It's about as cookie cutter as possible, and it's done for the simple purpose of organization. That's by design. However, him discussing the leak appears to have led to a very swift ban. Here's the problem. That list, in the eyes of many out there, categorically proves that there is preferential treatment among streamers as a function of internal company politics and social hierarchy. This is a concept that has percolated through the Reddit boards and skeptic communities for quite some time, but now there appears to be actual proof. Twitch has long denied that there is any sort of preferential treatment and that moderation and enforcement and all of these things are entirely separated from each other and there is no cross-pollination, there is no preferential treatment, and that they enforce their policies evenly across the board, while individual streamers accused of receiving preferential treatment or protected from above by moderation staff deny that claim as well. In the interest of being as thorough as possible for this video, an ex-Twitch administrator, SaySarah69 on Twitter, responded to these revelations with a statement loosely summarized as an additional denial that claims the information itself is out of date and was only used for the purpose of double-checking a false wave of report tickets. SaySarah69 is a person who would have intimate knowledge of this topic, but it's harder for me to believe that claim when there are instances on that list, at least the snippet, where a, quote, inappropriate username, something many users have been banned for time and time again, even in New World, actually, that I was just playing. There's tons of examples of this, stuff that shouldn't be banned for usernames getting banned. But an inappropriate username is flagged in one particular instance as a do not ban reason, simply because this particular broadcaster in a veritable army of their peers deserves to violate the letter of the law terms with impunity. Something was and is very strange about this document. Speaking to The Verge, an anonymous source, and I'll just pause here, the whole anonymous sources thing is so often abused by modern media, it's basically a meme at this point, but when you have what appears to be ideologically aligned platforms publishing that kind of information against each other, it's worth, at the very least, reading it out for viewers to make up their own decision. An anonymous admin source speaking to The Verge said, quote, "There would be constant questions and discontent about the regular moderation failures," further explaining that management would respond to that discontent very slowly. Now, this was specifically in reference to hate raids, but further corroborates that the platform has a severe problem with moderation on a much broader scale. Their systems don't work. Their methods foster animosity. And this new wave of leaks has now, for many, confirmed that they operate in bad faith, with willfully manipulative and deceptive statements aimed at allowing them to continue prioritizing certain streamers while neglecting, punishing, or even purging those that the individual moderation or administrative staff disagree with. Right or wrong, correct or incorrect, and everyone can make up their own minds here, Twitch has allowed and exacerbated a community belief that they are subjectively choosing favorites. And these leaks are pouring gasoline on that fire, without a doubt. Even if outdated, it's very hard to look at the totality of that snippet and see anything other than an exact replication of subreddit rumors and discontented rumblings. It's easy to deflect and say, well, that's normal, we all knew this, so who cares, or better yet, out of context, actually it doesn't mean anything. But the reality is, for a lot of people, that does mean something, and the global reputation of Twitch is taking what appears to be a further nosedive. Outside of the optical nightmare is the competitive one. Corporations like Twitch and Amazon are incredibly cautious to protect internal secrets. It's hilarious that they are as cautious as they are, especially in the video game space, right? The video game industry, while their security is so shitty. But even if they don't do a good job protecting their own secrets, they certainly care about them and try to protect them. The revelation that Amazon is working on a Steam competitor called Vapor is not going to be treated lightly when that revelation might also come paired with actual code and data on the project that can be harvested from 4chan because a hacker got inside their framework. To be clear, I say a hacker got inside their framework, but that is purely speculation right now. We don't know why or how this got leaked, and on the surface it might appear to be disgruntled internet operators who gained access, and Twitch has said something similar, but I'll go over that in a second. But the reality is not always what the surface might show. It's possible that this was an ex or current employee. It's possible this was a targeted effort by a competitor. It's possible this was a friend of a friend who somehow just got in, or any number of different things. But having multi-year payout metrics is an important detail to consider because there is typically a very comprehensive set of protections for that specific kind of information. All of this data is typically compartmentalized and isolated from other aspects of the company infrastructure. One person might have access to old Twitch.tv source code, but not the past 3 years of payout metrics. Likewise, an employee might have access to details on Vapor, but has no way to get into the actual Twitch mobile or desktop source code. Twitch has since confirmed, or rather claimed, because no one knows if this is true or not, that the issue was simply the result of a misconfiguration error, and that there is no indication that login credentials or credit card information was accessed at all. However, contrary to that claim, within hours, there were prompts beginning to show up for certain users that claim they should reset their password because their information was prone to enemies, and it should be therefore reset or changed. You can call it coincidence, you can call it unrelated, but the proximity of these two things make it hard to believe, at least for me, that they are totally unrelated. Bottom line, even though I'm technically late to this topic from a breaking news perspective, I wanted to cover it because Twitch, as a platform, is hounded by controversy and mired in failure. And I personally just don't like them for a lot of reasons dating back about 4 years. Their reputation from an optical perspective is at or near rock bottom. Their image from a security perspective is closely following suit now. And all of it only seems to get worse with time because instead of positive change and upward momentum, they are besieged by questions of integrity, competence, and overall mission. From gambling to nudity, 4chan hackers to preferential treatment, Twitch as a platform, generally speaking, more than ever before, is in chaos. And it felt like an interesting topic to cover. That's it. If you want support, there are links down below: merch, social media, YouTube platform alternatives, another creator to check out, just a bunch of links. Click them if you want to support. Locals as well, where $5 a month will help the channel out, and a whole bunch more. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.